Bungo Stray Dogs is an anime filled with insane, superhuman abilities and wild incidents. From machine guns to deadly explosions, it is filled with awesome fight scenes and insane choreography, a story of valor and redemption. After being kicked out of the orphanage for being different, Atsushi was hungry and lost, trying to find a place in the world. While attempting to look for answers, he found a man drowning in the river and went ahead to save him. Upon waking up, Dozai seemed upset for some reason. Apparently, he was trying to commit suicide and failed once again. After hearing his belly rumble, Dozai felt the need to thank his savior by treating him to a meal. How generous of him. Inside the restaurant, they met an obnoxious Kunikida who kept on scolding Dozai's reckless behavior. Damn, Nan! It seemed that Atsushi hadn't eaten for years. Regardless, it was then that they revealed they worked for a detective agency, the most famous in town, actually. Their goofy attitude and silly squabbles gave a different impression, however. As they were discussing their next mission, they mentioned hunting a mysterious tiger who had been terrorizing the city. Atsu's paranoia kicked in and tried running away, claiming the tiger was out to get him. He told them the tiger attacked the orphanage and ransacked everything, and was the reason he was kicked out by the higher-ups. It seems that the tiger followed him everywhere he went. After hearing enough, Dozai asked him to tag along and use him as bait. Atsu refused at first, but the amount they were willing to pay made him rethink his life decisions. Later that night, they headed to the warehouse and awaited the tiger's attack. After waiting for a bit, Atsu's paranoia kicked in once again and wanted to run, but Dozai informed him the tiger wasn't coming because it was already here. He deduced that Atsu was in fact the tiger in question and transformed into the beast when in direct moonlight. The tiger tried attacking Dozai with all it had, but alas, he was too fast and ended up using his magical affinity, no longer human, which is able to cancel out abilities in general. After waking up, our boy found out he was the tiger and started to freak out until the phone rang and his cowardice was in full swing. It was Dozai who asked him to get changed and meet up with him for an emergency. I bet he is going to work him like a dog. Oh wait, never mind. Dozai was just trying to unalive himself again and failed miserably. Poor guy. I wonder who hurt him. Must have been love, I presume. He seems like the type of guy to fall head over heels. Regardless, Atsu's morale seems to be shattered as he believes he is incompetent and not fit to join the agency. As a result, he wanted a low-income job where he could work incognito, and Dozai offered to help him find one. While walking to the interview place, Dozai informed him that there would be a basic test, reading and writing, nothing complicated. While he was blabbering on and on, they ran into Kunikida, who always seems upset for some reason. Apparently, Dozai had been receiving plenty of complaints from unsatisfied clients. Yikes. Hold your horses, there was an important mission. A bomber was inside the agency office, threatening to bombard the place if his demands weren't met. The trio sneaked in and tried hatching a plan to capture him without harming the innocent workers. After losing a bet, Kunikida approached the bomber and tried to negotiate with him. Alas, his words fell on deaf ears. After being pushed to a corner, Dozai asked Atsu to play as a distraction. Afterward, he walked up to the bomber as a mailman and begged him not to do it. While pleading with him, he got close enough to where Kunikida was able to capture the remote detonator and pin the bomber down. However, while he got into an argument with Dozai, the bomber seized the opportunity to trigger the bomb, leading to a countdown. With time running out, Atsu decided to use his body as a shield to protect everyone. Now there's a hero for you. They later informed him that it was all a test, and the president even walked in to congratulate him on joining the agency officially. That was too cruel of an examination, if you ask me. The next day, Atsu met with Tanizaki, the wannabe bomber, who kept on apologizing profusely, claiming he was made to do it. It seems to me like he was enjoying himself though. And don't get the wrong idea, the girl fooling around with him is his sister. Weird, I know. Kunikida had to butt in to explain the situation. He then went on to strangle Dozai for flirting with the waitress. Manan, this dynamic never fails to amuse. Afterward, they had Atsu guess their occupations. He was easily able to tell Tanizaki was a student, based on his usual uniform and behavior. Kunikida's took a while, but he was able to guess it right. A professor. Go figure. However, Dozai's was impossible to get. No one knows where he worked for previously. And in fact, there is an ongoing bounty and reward for whomever finds out, which made Atsu pumped up and motivated. I bet he was an assassin. Just then, a client walked in and assigned them a new mission. This time, Atsu and Tanizaki were on point. While following the client, she led them to a dead end and revealed herself a Port Mafia member. She then proceeded to kill Tanizaki's sister, which caused him to go berserk and use his ability to choke her to death. Sadly, Akutagawa showed up, the Port Mafia's main assassin. His ability Rashomon was damn near invincible. It seems that he was here to capture Atsu and informed him that there was a huge bounty on his head. In a fit of rage, he transformed into the tiger and started attacking relentlessly. It wasn't until Dozai showed up that the party stopped. He was feared even by the Port Mafia. Who knew this suicidal maniac was a menace? Upon waking up from his nap, Atsu is confronted by Kunikida as he recalls the horrors of the previous day. He is told that Tanizaki is being healed by the agency's doctor and hears a loud, girly scream from across the room. He starts panicking when he hears there is a 7 billion yen bounty on his head. On the other side of town, the Port Mafia are invading a certain territory, continuing business as usual. Now that's one scary organization. Our boy hears the explosion and heads over to the scene. He is shocked to see dead bodies everywhere and promptly heads to the nearest payphone to inform the Port Mafia that he is running away. He meets up with Kunikida and bids his final farewell. His plan backfired since the Port Mafia gathered its goons to attack the armed detective agency. Dozai, on the other hand, was busy trying to convince a woman to join his harakiri routine. Just then, the Port Mafia invaded the detective agency and held them at gunpoint. Upon hearing gunshots, our boy quickly rushed to the scene, only to find the Port Mafia being toyed around with and thrown out the window like ragdolls. Talk about anticlimactic. Everyone was cleaning the place aside from one douchebag, Rampo, the man with the ultra-deduction skills. Basically, the Sherlock Holmes of the franchise. Our boy tagged along with him to learn a thing or two. Upon arriving at the crime scene, the new chief refused his help despite his countless assistance. Out of nowhere, they reeled in Dozai, who was trying to drown. Again, does he hate life that much? Ranpo then decided to challenge the cops to deduce the situation in 60 seconds. Despite trying their best to connect the clues, they came short. Then the chief turned the challenge back to Rampo and started poking the bear. Wrong move, buddy. As soon as Rampo put on his glasses, his ultra-deduction allowed him to arrive at a conclusive answer and pointed at the chief's assistant. He asked to see his gun, but the assistant hesitated and started showing red flags. He then pointed the gun at Rampo. However, our boy was a tiger in disguise with quick reflexes. It seems that Rampo figured out the location of the incident as well, but how could he have known all of this? Oh, yeah, his ultra-deduction ability. Back at the police station, the assistant started confessing everything. The woman he killed had dirt on a politician who helped him join the police force. As a result, he was ordered to take her out and hide the evidence. Later on, the chief apologized and thanked Rampo for all his efforts. While walking back home, Dozai revealed that Rampo doesn't actually possess a supernatural ability, and his ultra-deduction is a result of his natural genius. Whoa, I bet you didn't see that coming. The following day, Kunikida is lost in thought trying to figure out his place in life, and for some reason, he seems to be obsessed with his notebook. Upon entering the office, he finds Atsu freaking out over Dozai's bizarre behavior. The suicidal maniac seems to have eaten a poisonous mushroom and is now high as a kite. Even so, Kunikida doesn't give it much thought since this isn't new. When things get out of hand, he slams Dozai to the ground and drags both of them to a warehouse. Their next mission officially begins and they head underground to meet their informant, Taguchi, who starts giving Kunikida a hard time. He hands him a couple of photos of the possible leak and tells him it's the Azuri messenger. This show sure does love its mystery. Afterward, they head into a cab and start speaking to the driver, who is also one of their informants. He tells them of the two people who were abducted and how he drove both of them. Just then, they arrived at an abandoned hospital with eerie vibes straight out of a horror flick. To make matters worse, they hear a woman screaming for help and find her drowning. After saving her, she reveals her name to be Sasaki, a university professor who was also abducted. They hear more voices and witness people being poisoned inside a cell. Alas, they couldn't save them, and the next day, they all felt horrible about it. After finding some more clues, they headed back to the cab driver and accused him of being the kidnapper. He would not only kidnap them, but strip them naked and pretend to go to hotels to fool the cameras and the police. After he was caught, he started confessing and blamed it all on the port mafia. But trouble came knocking in the form of machine guns. Kunikida threw a flash grenade to distract the soldiers and took them out. But then the big bad wolf Akutagawa came. His ability was truly a spectacle to behold. However, Kunikida managed to outsmart him using electricity. Before he could make his next move, he sensed Dozai and made a run for it. Is Dozai really that powerful? The following day, there was a meeting at the detective agency to discuss the bomb threat sent by the Azure messenger. He sent them a challenge, letting them know the whereabouts of the bomb, and gave them till sundown to try and stop him. Quite the lenient criminal, if you ask me. It's almost like he wants to be caught. Unfortunately, Rampo wasn't available to solve the case in a jiffy. As such, the president sent the rest of the squad to deal with the matter. Kunikida phoned the hacker informant to get as much intel on them as possible. While everyone was working busy, Dozai was just chilling at a cafe, flirting with a hottie until he was abruptly interrupted. While discussing, the hottie professor suggested that the Azure messenger might be doing this out of revenge or out of a selfish ideal. Then Dozai started aggravating Kunikida, which led to another friendly fire. These two have no brakes. Suddenly, our boy received a text saying, "Rampo is ready and damn." These two brought their game faces in an instant. They got on a phone call with him, and he told them the location lickety-split. Man, I wish I had his deduction abilities. How easy life would have been. Upon arriving at the scene, they were met with a warm welcome. After dealing with the goons, Kunikida encountered an ability that controlled the person using numbers, and Dozai faced a bulky bodyguard. Bad matchup. Also, the bomber timer was running out. So they quickly switched places, and Dozai nullified the thug's ability while Kunikida dealt with the bully and turned off the bomb just in time. Now, that is what I call clutch. Afterward, they found out that the Azure messenger was the hottie they rescued. Bummer. Push came to shove, and they had to eliminate her. Man, and here I was falling in love. The following day, a creepy little girl on the street approaches Dozai and catches him lacking. After not hearing from him, Atsu gets a bit worried, while the rest don't seem to care at all. It seems that all his suicide attempts finally backfired. Just then, Tanizaki appears all healthy and cheerful and asks to help. Upon being reminded of his treatment, he kept on seeing nightmarish memories of the doctor. And speaking of the devil, Dr. Yosno arrived and took our boy out on a shopping errand. While walking in the mall, he met up with the girl who kidnapped Dozai and felt a malicious aura emanating from her, but didn't think much of it. Later on, they got onto a train where they heard an announcement of a bomb, followed up by an explosion killing several innocent civilians. They both split up trying to find the bombs, and Yosno encounters Kaji, a port mafia member with the ability to create lemon bombs. While our boy ran into the little demon Izumi, funny enough, her ability is also called Demon Snow. It is terrifyingly fast and accurate. Our boy kept getting slashed left and right. Yosno, on the other hand, was pinned down by the bomber and left helpless. After a farewell speech, he bombed her to Kingdom Come. However, when he came back to check on her, she caught him with a hook and kept pummeling him. Her ability is known as Thou Shalt Not Die. She can cure any fatal injury. A woman after my own heart. Our boy, on the other hand, transformed into a quasi-tiger and saved both the train and Izumi from the bomb in a fast and furious type of stunt. It's all about family. The next day, Izumi awoke from her slumber only to be questioned by Kunikida. Atsu feels some remorse and decides to buy breakfast for her. Even though Kunikida told him to hand her in since she was a wanted criminal, he succumbed to her charm and took her on a tour of the city. Meanwhile, Dozai was locked up by Akutagawa, who kept scolding him. Atsu and Izumi went to several amenities: the stadium, the cultural museum, and he kept on buying her good food and spoiling her silly. Afterward, she went to the police station wanting to turn herself in. Unfortunately, Akutagawa caught them slipping and kidnapped them both. Once the armed detective agency caught wind of the situation, the president ordered all personnel to be on the lookout. Luckily, Rampo was there to sniff out the location in an instant. Is this guy omniscient or something? After discovering the truth, Kunikida used the agency's speedboat to catch up to the ship where Atsu was being held hostage. Speaking of hostages, Dozai managed to escape his incarceration and started chatting with an old buddy of his. He convinced him to hand over valuable intel about the port mafia using his sneaky tactics. Meanwhile, Atsu was being dragged around by Akutagawa, who seemed unreasonably envious of his bounty and abilities. Izumi came through and pulled a gun on her former boss, but was no match for him. Kunikida arrived just in time to help Atsu escape, but he refused to go without her. As such, he decided to fight the port mafia's main assassin one-on-one. A bold move from our protagonist. Had it not been for his incredible regeneration, Rashomon would have obliterated him by now. These two went at it like they were fighting over the same girl. After a series of back-and-forth blows, our boy managed to land a clean hit to win the battle and was escorted out by Izumi and Kunikida after blowing up the ship. The next day, Izumi is seen in the office wearing a maid costume while everyone else is treating her like a princess. Even our main detective Rampo was caught simping. After the president walked in, Izumi begged him using her puppy dog eyes, which he was unable to refuse. Meanwhile, Akutagawa was severely injured and hospitalized after their last fight. During a port mafia meeting, his subordinate, Higuchi, was put on a spot by the boss. Even later on, Akutagawa's henchman came to question Higuchi's ability and resolve. Things weren't looking good for her. Later that night, Akutagawa was captured by the mercenaries who opposed the port mafia, and Higuchi bravely went to their hideout seeking retaliation. However, she wasn't sufficient and almost lost until the henchman came to save the day and rescue Akutagawa. Back at the agency, Kenji and Atsu were given an assignment. Since Rampo was unavailable, they were tasked with finding out who crashed a car in the building. Kenji tried collecting evidence here and there and ran into some gangsters who tried taking advantage of him. However, little did they know that Kenji was actually a monster. His superhuman strength crushed them all in one go. Things took an unexpected twist when a rich snob from another country came to buy out the agency. Francis was the leader of the guild and tried to purchase the agency by persuading the president. After he was refused, he ended up kidnapping Kenji, which is weird because that guy was a monster. While Atsu and Tanizaki were searching for clues on the street, they ran into a girl with the ability to create a fantasy world and suck people in. Lucy was able to trap Kenji and Tanizaki using her doll, Anne, who looks super scary and is crazy fast. Our boy tried his best, but was no match and decided to quit. However, he was stopped by this random man who also had someone special taken away from him. After receiving words of encouragement, Atsu mustered all the strength he had to lure Lucy into a trap. She finally succumbed and let everyone free safe and sound. Later on, we find out the random guy was actually the port mafia leader when everyone bows down to him, Mori Ugai. I wonder what abilities he possesses. Well, that is all for now. If you enjoyed our Bungo Stray Dogs recap, be sure to leave a like and subscribe and invite one of your friends to watch and comment. Till next time, stay true.